Hey, another great music spotlight, singer, songwriter, musician, artist, lifelong, Gary Patrick with the new album High to Ride. How you doing there, Gary?
I'm doing wonderful. How about you, Brant?
Hey, man, I'm doing good. You know what? It's one thing to be a recording artist and a singer songwriter. It's a whole nother thing to be a regular a performer in a place like Las Vegas. Oh my gosh, Gary, from the age of 5, you just had a born gift for music. Your mother was a singer as well, and the journey that
That's
you've
right.
had is just simply amazing. You may be new to some people, but you're not new to the good old folks who've gone through and live in and around Las Vegas. Tell us more about yourself, man.
Well, I was raised in a very musical household, and it just seemed like it wasn't a choice for me. It's music chose me. That was the way
Yeah.
and to me, God has spoken through music to me my whole life, and so I've been so fortunate to have chapter after chapter in my life just to grow, not only for my craft and for what I do for a living. I've been a musician for my living pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
35 years I've been doing it for a living, but it has given me opportunities to grow with people and to grow my soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've had many opportunities. You mentioned Las Vegas. That was about a 10-year stint. That I mean, people should go to Vegas for 3 days and then go home. You know what I mean? It's a city where you're coming and going all hours of the night. And after a while, you just it's the desert, and you're like, I got to go to work. But
Uh-huh.
that job gave me it was a great opportunity to learn how to be a leader and to work with people, just
Well,
like
yeah.
life, you
Well,
know?
I emphasize that, Gary, because you know it's one thing to be a professional musician in Tulsa. It's another thing to be a professional musician in Vegas. And what that says, what I mean by that is uh, so much stellar entertainment in Vegas, as well as Nashville, that for you to spend 10 years there professionally at the Bellagio, among other places, that tells me a lot about you as a musician, about your level, but also about resilience and the fact that you know how to speak the language of people, all kinds of people, and you're not a new artist by any stretch of the imagination. It always cracks me up when I was talking to Kevin Sorbo, who played Hercules,
That's right.
and Kevin said, "Yeah, I was an overnight success. I was in Hollywood for 20 years before that, right?"
Yeah.
But the same kind of thing, but with seasoned musicians that put out good, positive music, and they've been able to maintain their soul, and also their energy, in playing with various places. But in my mind, if you spent 10 years there, especially wherever you played, man, you got to be really salty. In my mind, the best of the best, man, a
Well,
top tier musician.
I'd always been fortunate to surround myself with really wonderful musicians.
Yeah.
Just and at the time I was living in Los Angeles. I lived there for about 15 years in Orange County, actually.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'd always been surrounded by great players that lifted me up. You know what I mean? We're always standing on in the shoulders of giants in my
Right.
mind. You know what I
Right.
mean? And
Right.
so I got the audition for the gig, and to work for MGM Mirage, and at that time to get a yearly contract was kind of unheard of, you know. And everybody wanted that job all over the country. So we had to stay on our toes. And it was the opportunity of the right time. We were at the right place in the right time, and we learned a lot of lessons and a lot of laughs and a lot of love, and it was great. During that time, I've always been a writer. I've always at that time I'd recorded my second Americana album
Yeah.
with one of my favorite mentors. His name is Richard Brudice in Los Angeles, and upon finishing my second album, Richard's best friend, who is an amazing songwriter, he contacted me and said, "Hey, I would love to co-write with you." And I'd never co-written with anyone, but that changed my life because at the end of my stint in Las Vegas was 2006, the housing bubble burst. You
Right.
know,
Right.
everybody was, there were people owning 3 and 4 homes in Las Vegas. And when
Oh yeah.
that burst, the city just collapsed. So by 2008, I was working my way to Nashville. And so I moved home in Texas for a short stint, and then I went to live in Nashville and immerse myself in songwriting. And so I mentioned my Ken Orso. I mentioned Richard Burdish's best friend. He has been my co-writer ever since. And we get on the phone with each other. We put earbuds in. He lives in Ashland, Oregon, and we write and write and write. And so far, we have 4 albums together.
Wow. So
I mean,
cool.
I'm skipping way forward. Uh, but yes, we just released my 6th album. It's entitled "High to Ride." High to Ride doesn't it doesn't denote smoking something funny and getting on a motorcycle. It means when you have been stuck and you would do anything for a change of mind, something you needed, something spiritual to lift you up for a
Right.
different perspective. You need a new high to ride. So that's what that song is about.
Well, I love it. And of
And
course, High to Ride is a culmination of your life journey, man. A multiplicity of styles and genres
yeah,
as well. And
yeah.
yeah, well, I love the fact that you did a redo of John Waite's "Missing You."
Oh, that's a great song.
Yeah.
I love John Wayne. I think nobody writes better verses than him in that genre of music. I love John Wayne.
Wow, man. Well, High to Ride. I love that. If someone were to say, "Hey, give me a sentence. What you're about, Gary Patrick." And by the way, folks, go to garypatrick.love. Gary
Love.
Patrick. What's that?
Love. That's right.
Yeah,
Dot
that's right.
love.
GaryPatrick.love. And it's not a dating site, it's his website. I actually think it's a cool name. .love. I mean, that stands out, but
Thanks, man.
GaryPatrick.love. It's a great website that you can buy the album right there. And if someone says, "Hey, what kind," because you're very positive, and you have such a great energy to you,
Yeah.
what's this guy about? If someone said, what's Gary Patrick about as an artist?" How would you answer that?
I would say life is about relationships.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a legacy you leave behind. I pray that people see Jesus in me. That's all that I can hope for, is to be good in the world and to promote love and a good message. That's in my heart of hearts. That's what I'm about.
That's wonderful. Lifting people up, positive media is so needed, Gary. Of course, music is part of media. People don't realize that. It is very, very powerful, universal, from the slums of Egypt you know, uh, to
Yes.
downtown Amarillo. I mean, people respond to music, especially
Yeah.
good music too. The,
Yeah.
the, the fact that you give credit to God, that you want people to see Jesus in you, Gary, that's so wonderful, man, because, we know the other side of it. I've been a lifelong musician and recording artist, and I know of people, and I know people who have witnessed things in the music industry. There is a dark side to it. There's a downright evil side to it.
That's right.
But you've managed to do what you've done without losing your passion, your heart. You obviously didn't sell your soul, and obviously it belongs to God, and you love Jesus. I'm curious. Do you ever break out at different times, or did different gigs, or are you ever going to a church and leading worship sometimes too? I mean, you strike me as someone who would be a fantastic worship leader.
I lead worship every gig, and that's what I do in the
That's
world.
so cool, man. That's so
Yeah.
cool because when people happen upon you, fantastic website, sharp guy, all this, they're like, "Man, this is so good. Wow." Just it's about the music. It's really, really wonderful. But I'm happy to hear you say that. When I go speak somewhere, I'm still playing the piano. When I go play piano, I go speak some. To me, I'm just doing one thing, encouraging people. And you strike me as an encourager. as well, and you're very dedicated. Tell us about that song, Nobody Else But You.
Nobody else but you. That's my current terrestrial radio single right now. It's a very it's a very innocent song, I would say, about just about life, and about a guy that was having fun with his friends, and then of course he wasn't thinking about her, and then she appears, and it's, it's the time old story that we've heard. When she walks in, now he's not thinking about anybody else but her.
It,
I love, the thing is when I the most impressionable years of music to me were artists that really captured, there was an essence of innocence in their lyrics, and it put me in a carnival. You know what I mean? It put me at a high school dance. You know what I mean? It put me beside the bed of an aging parent. You know what I mean? Those innocent lyrics,
wow.
in a world that is less innocent. I love, you know I look for that, or I try to imply that. It's all about the heart.
Well, you have a depth to you, Gary, that quite frankly I don't always see in a lot of artists.
Oh,
They can
oh,
have an
thank you.
incredible gift, but they're not always a deep well. They're priceless people. But it seems to me you're very purposed in your writing and in your production, in your
Thank you.
performing and execution of that. Some people just have a great voice. You ask them about a song, I didn't write it, but I guess, being a producer yourself and being a songwriter yourself, you hear it in your head as you're creating it. You're very purposeful
Yep.
about where you want the destination to be. And overall, I'm just thrilled to meet you, Gary. I want to keep up with you. You
Yeah,
know,
man. I'm thrilled to meet you too. You mentioned something very important there, the destination, which, you know, um, many musicians and artists they have different things happen different for
yeah,
different people. The path is different. Some people, they come out of high school and they
right,
win a talent show, and then they are thrust into uh, mass success,
yeah,
and they don't have they don't have the history to back it up, and it's hard on them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's different for everybody. For me, I never even thought about being famous. All I wanted to do was be good. And
yeah,
so therefore it was this, I'm speaking about me in my path. I just wanted to be the best I could be at being, a great lyricist, or a great singer, or guitar player, human being. You know what I mean? So I have really been fortunate enough to have a long journey. And to me, the journey is
yeah.
that's where everything happens,
Oh
is the journey.
yeah,
So
oh
what are
yeah.
we gonna land? Do you land at some gig and play in front of a TV show and then that be it? My gosh.
Wow.
Well, what I get to do, and what I'm so grateful for, is I get to play in front of so many people and touch people and I mean, I'm so close up. So I love my journey. I'm grateful for it.
Well, and it shows. And again, it's just wonderful, man. It's wonderful because when you want to lead people to a destination of inspiration, of faith, you know, and you're coming from a place of gratitude, then that changes the whole dynamic too. Some artists you go see or hear, but especially if you meet them in person, or man, they don't even know you're there, or maybe they're from the camp of loving things and using people. But when you love people and use things, and you care about them,
Yeah.
it's just a whole different experience, man. I can't wait to see you perform in person. Where can people
Well, thank
find you right now in person, some gigs and all that?
Oh, GaryPatrick.love, my,
Right there.
tour schedule. There you go. Let's go. Yeah, I play all the time, over 150 shows a year. And you said something that's all right. So, we are not perfect.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a gigging musician.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll find myself in an environment that's not, those people didn't come to see me. Those people came to have a burger on, on dollar drink night, well, it's more like 250 drink night now. And all of a sudden, oh, Gary's here. That guy's playing. I mean, I do these gigs.
Yeah,
But I have to remember that it's not about me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And sometimes I lose the battle because as long as there are I'm a master at my craft in some areas. You know what I mean? I know that I have put the time in, and I will sing a great song, and that's a ketchup bottle. That's not an applause. I have lived that, and what I've come to realize is, hey, look, it's not about me. It's about the connection. If I can make a connection with people, that's the beautiful thing. You know,
Yeah, it is. And I came from the piano, rock and roll singing. Before I was a worship leader, I was a performer. Um, and so I didn't have the same kind of journey, of trying to live out my rock star dreams on a church stage. I'd already been a performer.
yeah,
I actually wanted to preach. I was done with worship. I was a veteran of the worship wars. Too fast, too slow, too soft, too horrible time of ungratefulness among the church at that time. It was. I was more of an evangelist. I cared about the people. I was trying to let these people understand, look, guys, they don't care how loud the drums are. They want to know why they shouldn't blow their brains out tonight. That's where they are. And so that's why I transitioned from the church world to media and more music and even music among the world. But it's just interesting, Gary, that everybody is hurting. Everyone needs encouragement. When I was a young man and I played a piano bar, what was the number one requested song you think I got at a piano bar?
Sweet Caroline. I don't know.
Amazing Grace.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Because see, we're all
Boy,
medicated.
was I thinking shallow.
Ah,
Wow.
no. Well, Sweet Caroline, Piano Man, Great Balls of Fire. I did some dueling pianos with very briefly with Tom Basler. Then I did that style for years. I love taking people back to a better time. And music does that. But there are people on the other sides of those tables.
Hmm.
And they're
Yeah.
going through all. Nothing brings joy and laughter and healing, I think, besides knowing the creator of it all, the music. And it's just really refreshing, Gary, that someone who's been doing it their whole life, and in places where it's quite frankly tough to sometimes to do. People, you see these videos of master musicians playing in a subway and people ignore them, but they may be on their way to their concert that night, paying a $250 in a VIP section. It's because they don't always appreciate really good music, and in a time of AI where anyone can write a song and not even be a musician. Just hats off to you, man,
Yeah.
for not only staying the course, but you've got the energy of a teenager. You've got enthusiasm, which is fantastic. You love God. You're also good. I mean, you can't beat that. But I love the enthusiasm that you have and the fact that you care about your listeners, and that will transcend in the music. The word enthusiasm in theos, in God. Did you know that, folks? So, just another great artist that you need to go to, GaryPatrick.love, LOVE. Get his album, get behind him, and you're right. It's all about relationships, Gary. Even in business, it's all about relationships. Well, you know what? This is an artist that you can relate to. And I just encourage everybody to connect with Gary Patrick. Such an honor to see your face, Gary, and I
You
can't
too.
wait to hear How to Ride and the John Waite cover. I love that. Very very intrigued to hear Nobody Else But You. I'm going to go listen to that. I've got a crazy
Thank
day
you.
ahead of me, but I'm looking forward to hearing more. And
Thank you.
so for the first time, hopefully of many, thank you so much for joining me today, Gary.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to shake your hand and meet you in person. And thank you to your listeners. So it's so nice to meet you. And I hope to see you somewhere, folks.
Oh, you will, Gary. I have a feeling we'll be doing a lot of talking, and you have a lot of facets to what you do, and it's going to be exciting, man, to see how you encourage people in this hour with your music and with your words and with your spirit and incredible enthusiasm. So, Gary Patrick. Love, folks. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.